I used to want to be the guy who motivated people to become successful. And now, if anything, I would rather be the guy who tells the truth. So much, in fact, that maybe you reevaluate what success means to you, because I wish somebody did that for me earlier.
I've been saying to my clients a lot lately, the science of success, the science of achievement does not care about your feelings. I was in the gym earlier today and I look my best right now because I'm in a cut and I'm losing body fat, but I feel my worst. Sometimes when you're winning, it feels terrible.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2111, the unsexy truth about success. This is going to be a hardcore episode. If you're not feeling so hot, this might not be the one for you, but it probably is, because we'll be motivational and inspirational, but like, it's going to be a heavy one. It's going to be a heavy one. All right. Yesterday, 6 a.m. till 7:30, I think.
13 and a half hour day.
13 and a half hour day. I was on a podcast, and I had a moment where it was like, I understand now a little bit about why people think I'm crazy. I get it. It was one of those podcasts where it was just like all over the place, just a cool conversation, no direction. I love those. It's always fun. I'm talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator at one point. I was like, this is fucking awesome. What? Microsoft Flight Simulator is what we were talking about at one point.
From way back?
No, they made a new one in 2020.
I used to play F-22 Lightning too.
This guy streams it. He's a guy streaming on Twitch. It's like, dude, what a cool life. What a wild time to be alive. And we were talking about bodybuilding. He's like, are you like the 6 meal a day kind of guy? And I was like, no, I eat like 1 meal a day. And he's like, how does that work? And I was like, it's not ideal. It's not optimal at all. I know that. I said, I worked out at 6, and at this time it was like 4:30. And I said, I probably won't eat until like 8 o'clock tonight. And I had a moment where I was like, So I worked out at 6:30. Then I go work a 13-hour day, and I don't eat anything until nighttime. And I was like, well, that's kind of fucked up a little bit. That's a little bit, that's probably a little bit detrimental.
I'll never forget the first time I heard about the quote-unquote warrior diet, and it's intermittent fasting essentially, and you do 20 hours of fasting for 4 hours of eating. And I remember thinking, that's a little crazy. And now I don't feel like that's crazy at all.
The same.
We've lost it, man. We've totally lost perspective on what we do.
When we were doing the weigh-in last year for the 10-pound and 10-week challenge, I wanted to hit the goal early. I just didn't eat for 2 days. I'm just not going to eat because I don't think it was 2 days. I think it was like a day and a half. I just didn't eat. And then I weighed in and I was like, cool, done.
I did a marathon.
You did a marathon.
Weigh in.
I'm not saying...
Let me clarify. The half marathon, I did a half marathon and I finished the full marathon, but I had to walk.
He did it. It wasn't pretty.
It was not pretty. The half marathon was legit though.
Yes. I did a video last night that this was the inspiration for this episode. I did a video last night where I was talking about how so many people ask, how did you guys do it? How do you guys do an episode every day? Blah, blah, blah. All the questions. And I appreciate those questions. I'm not blah, blah, blahing it in that way. And my new answer is this. It is just the number one priority, even ahead of Alan and myself. Yeah. That's the answer. It is the number one priority ahead of everything else except for my wife and except for Alan's family. Mm-hmm. That is the truth. If I'm on a podcast after this and we don't have enough time, we cancel the podcast. Doesn't matter. Too bad. I'm sorry. This has to take precedent. It just has to. Mm-hmm. There was a death in our family last year, and I went and supported the family, and I had to leave and come home at like 9 o'clock at night, and you and I recorded however many episodes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to Vermont in 2 weeks. I already pre-planned all of our episodes. It's going to suck. I'm going to South Carolina the next week. We've already pre-planned all of our episodes. It's going to suck.
We're in South Carolina.
Myrtle Beach, baby.
Nice.
Going golfing for a bachelor party.
Not a huge fan of that state, I got to say. If anyone's from South Carolina, I apologize. Not a fan.
I've never been.
I don't know. It's not for me.
I'll let you know. I've never been.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Really? You know, where we're God, whatever.
I think
it
you're
is
going
what
to like
it
New
is.
Hampshire better. I do. I really do.
I don't know, man. You know me. I like to get a little wild on the beach.
I think it'll be fun to visit. Yeah. I was there for a week.
Too long.
A week. Yeah, too long.
Too long.
Yeah, I think a few days is fine.
That's
Continue.
the theme in today's episode. The theme in today's episode is the thing that you are the most successful in is going to be the thing that you prioritize above everything else. And that is the simplest fundamental of success. Alan and I are very hungry because we're dieting. I am prioritizing my fitness goals over my desire to eat good food, over social events potentially, and or eating at social events. And that is the reason we're getting results. That it is that simple.
Yeah.
It is that unsexy, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I just don't think people are willing to admit that, because I think there's two types of people. There's somebody who takes massive pride in how easy it was. And there's people who take massive pride in how challenging it was. And I think, unfortunately...
Which one are we?
We are the second one, for sure. But because I don't care if somebody looks at me and says, oh, you guys are business owners and the business doesn't run itself yet and blah. Like, that's all bullshit anyway. I don't care about that. Whatever. No, that's never going to happen. It is what it is. So yeah, that's my thesis in today's episode.
The paradox is the only way that happens is if we don't believe it yet. Okay, fair. So I want to share this. And again, Kevin and I are more successful than we've ever been by a significant margin. And the reason I'm saying that is not to brag. It's to make this point land. The only reason why we're more successful than we've ever been, the main reason, I would say 90% of it, at least 80% of it, is because of this. So last night, Emilia and I have had conversations recently where I'm working way too late. We have a keystone habit. A keystone habit is the one thing that changes everything. It's when there's an arc, it's the main keystone in the center that holds the whole arc up, essentially. And we have a keystone habit with a streak on the whiteboard downstairs. There's a 0 there. 0 days straight for that. 1,121 days of exercise. 0 days of keystone habit of cutting by 8 o'clock. So cutting at 8 o'clock is the keystone habit. If we cut at 8, her and I, then we have some R&R, we eat, we get to bed on time, we wake up on time, we go to the gym. It cascades. Everything cascades. You know how you start slipping in one thing, everything starts rolling down the hill. You were talking about the dishes recently. Okay. So Emilia is very... she said, "Can I storm the keep? Me and Tucker and Tilly and Tao are gonna barge in there at 8:15 if you're not out of the fucking office, and we're gonna all come in and snuggle you." Cute. They did that last night after we were done recording, and it wasn't 8:15. So we finished recording last night at.
We finished at 7:30. You had a coaching call last night.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Okay, so I finished my coaching call at 8:30. 8:30, I finished my coaching call. Then I still had to close the store. Bunch of different stuff.
Z out the register.
You got to. Last night, 7:37 p.m., Alan says to Emilia in WhatsApp, "Tonight is Jeff, honey. So sorry. See you as soon as I can." Exclamation point with a heart. Ready? Watch this. This morning, I wake up. I text Kevin. "I seriously need our start time to be 10:30 and can barely make that. Can we do tomorrow morning, 2, to make up for it? Take whatever slot you fucking need, son." I added that last part. It was just take whatever slot you need. And we did. But I just want to give a behind the scenes, because the truth of the matter is from the outside in, it does... I think we do, and again, I think we do a better job of this than most because we always talk about how much we're struggling, and we're honest about that. But I do think if you weren't really paying attention or listening to the show, we might make it look easy. I was looking at our YouTube yesterday. Dude, the amount of content we've created is mind-blowing.
It's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of episodes. It's mind-blowing. I tracked this yesterday. I finally caught up my calendar. I've been extremely focused on calendar hygiene for the last many years. And I used to have these flashcards that I would do when we were on the road where I would track everything. You remember I'd be doing them at hotel rooms and motels, and we couldn't afford much back then, so shitty Motel 6s. And you remember that one? That place sucked, man. I had to nap.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was brutal. You were like, "Oh, this is nothing, man." I was on the road for years.
That was quite... I mean, there was no hypodermic needles and blood on the walls, so that was nothing. That was totally fine. This is
all
great.
Relative. This is totally fine. This is clean as shit. This might as well be a Hilton, baby. All right, so... I used to track in these little black notebooks. Then I had these flashcards that I would do every single day. I have piles of them. I actually did a training recently on this. And then eventually I digitized it. I put it all in Google Sheets. I track everything. I have something I call my 10,000 hour tracker. And I've been working on this for literally 10 years. I'm not kidding. And I was talking to Amelia on our walk last night. I said, I did it. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I finally passed 10,000 hours. And I already did a while ago and I knew it, but I needed certainty. So 10,776 coaching sessions, trainings, and podcasts. Now, coaching sessions is anything one-to-one. Trainings is anything one to several. Podcasts is obviously podcast episodes. So this, Business Growth University, Conscious Couples Podcast, any other podcast that I guest on. And 10,766 hours, probably more than that because I usually go over, as you know. But then some episodes are smaller than others, so it probably averages out. But there's a 10,000 hour rule in deep practice. If you study the research, Malcolm Gladwell talks about how once you reach 10,000 hours, you're basically world class. And so I started tracking that 10 years ago. Speeches count as trainings. You understand, it's my own system. But I had a moment where it was like I was working on that for 10 years and I surpassed it by a significant margin. I'm going to keep going. I'm still going to call it my 10,000 hour tracker. Eventually it'll be 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. But I was thinking to myself, no wonder why when we look back at old content, we think it sucks. And Emilia said, yeah, I feel very seen right now because in the Conscious Couples podcast, she probably is at like 2,000 or 3,000 hours. And sometimes I'll be like, sweetheart, I need you to bring it. Come on, let's do this, right? And she said, I think you're losing sight of how far ahead you were. Like you and Kevin already had 700 episodes when I started my show or something like that, maybe 300, 400, something like that. And the reps they pay off. So what's my point of all this? 90% of our success comes down to that one metric, 10,766 hours. And Kev, early on, he said, how did you know we'd be successful? And I said simply, you can't add that much value to that many people for that long and improve that much without eventually being successful. It's a math equation. Now, did I fucking think it would take that long for this? Are you kidding me?
The equation was off a little bit.
Oh my goodness. Apparently there's some other things that matter. Branding, marketing, sales, perception, status, all the stuff. And when you look like a fucking Ken doll, that does not help in business. But a lot of it comes down to that, for sure. Just repetition, 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 repetition. You're not going to play baseball for 10 years and still suck if you're focused on improving and have coaches and yeah. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
It's unsexy, and again, it might not be the most motivational, inspirational thing, but I do think the thing that remains the priority is the thing that you will be the best at. If you're hyper-focused on being a great parent, you literally reverse engineer everything to make sure that you can spend time with your kids. That's awesome. I love that. When your kids are sick, you call out of work. When your kids are sick, maybe you don't go to the gym. When your kids are sick, you don't go see your friends. That's the priority.
Yeah, what's the must?
I love it. And I love that. That's one of the reasons I do not have children and I am not planning on having children, because I don't necessarily want that to be the priority. And I know it has to be. I feel like it would be selfish of me to bring a child into the world knowing that it's not as big a priority for me. Now, will that happen at some point? I don't know. Maybe.
I find that so paradoxical. You and Taryn, I think, would be great parents, statistically speaking. And ironically, no, seriously though, right? You're certainly on the higher end of maturity, and
that's the goal.
Yeah. You work on yourselves and each other and all that. And you guys aren't going to have kids.
We might adopt at some point.
Yeah. I think that will probably end up happening.
I don't know. We'll see.
There are certain people that I'm certain of that I know that I am certain should not.
For sure.
Absolutely. They're adult children having children, and it's rut-row. And I find that really paradoxical. It's the person mature enough to admit that they shouldn't because it would be selfish is the person who actually fucking should.
Here's the other thing too. Everybody I've asked, like, amazing having kids, huh? They're like, nah, kind of fucking sucks. Yeah. We talked to somebody at a birthday party recently and they're like, no, it's terrible. We love them and they're amazing and they're sweet, but it's absolutely terrible. And I was like, I know. And I appreciate you telling me. I know they're the greatest gift ever. Yes, I understand. Awesome. This podcast is also like the greatest gift ever for me, and it also is terrible. Two things can be simultaneously true at the same time.
Isn't that the whole thing?
Pretty much.
That's got to be the key lesson. Everything has pros and cons. Everything.
Yes. The bigger the pros, the bigger the cons.
Facts.
I think
absolute facts.
Right?
I was like I always joke about, I was a prepubescent loser back in the day. Short, didn't hit puberty. You think I look young now? Imagine me at 14, right? But I never had to, I just kind of didn't have to deal with any bullshit because I was overlooked. And this guy in the gym, I told the story on yesterday's podcast about him stepping to me. He was in the gym and he gave me the nod, the honor nod of like, yeah, I see you. I know. We're good, man. But that shit never used to happen. Now that I'm the top dog, quote unquote, at the gym, and it's not hard at my gym, it's a tiny gym, but you have to deal with a bunch of shit you didn't realize. And again, trust me, I'd rather be this than the way I felt about myself back then, for sure. High school was not fun for me. But there's pros and cons with everything. And you and I have become more successful. We've achieved a lot of our dreams. And I don't want you not to do it because it is better. It's so much better. But it's not what you think.
Yes.
Definitely not. It's not like...
It's like you have to double and triple and quadruple down on the priority. We logged on to record yesterday and we just had a laughing fit. You and I were just laughing our asses off. Because sometimes that's what happens when we're going through it. We just have a good giggle sesh. It was like, we've never been more successful. We've never had more opportunity. And it just feels worse than it ever has somehow. but in a good place and in a good direction. And it's not as catastrophic as it once was, but it's definitely not. If there is a land of unicorns, rainbows, and just golden arches, I've never seen it.
No.
And I don't believe it exists. I don't think it exists.
It does not exist.
What's your next level lesson? Yeah.
The last story, I wanted to say this. What was it? Oh, this is, I think, a good metaphor. I was in the gym today, and I am doing the 10-pound in 10-week challenge. Shout out to any Next Levelers out there doing that with us. If you want in on the Next Level Fitness group, we just had someone join. KJ? JK. And if you want in, DM Kevin or myself, because when we put the link in the show notes, we got bots and shit. But anyways, so I'm probably 5 pounds down. And I feel I didn't eat last night much, and I didn't eat this morning. And I went to the gym. And I don't have any carbs in me right now. I can feel depleted. And that's par for the course. I need to do that, unfortunately. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm going, I look better than I have in a long time. I'm looking good. But I feel fucking terrible. And again, I know it's not that bad. You're like, dude, I've been dieting for 20 weeks. I'm telling you right now, I had a moment of it makes sense. I look my best when I feel my worst. There's something about that. From the outside in, I look the most successful in fitness that I have in a long time. And I'm telling you, from the inside out, I don't feel good. I don't feel good at all, actually. I couldn't get in flow. Today was a terrible workout. So I think that's a good metaphor. When you're winning, when your future is winning, sometimes your present self feels like it's losing. And I think that that's a fucking law. You're the most in shape you've been in a long time, and you feel worse.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, pretty terrible.
There's a fucking correlation with that, I'm telling you. And I'm the most overwhelmed I've ever been. You are too, for sure, in business. But we're also more successful than we've ever been. So can you have one without the other? I don't think you can. And I'm done pretending that you can, because it's not helping.
I think you can when you're like 30 years in. I think eventually you just have so much momentum that maybe you're not becoming more successful, but you're successful enough where it's like you can just kind of ride the coattails of the success that you built. I'm convinced of that. Not in fitness, though. In fitness, that doesn't exist, because fitness is it
gets worse.
It is a deteriorating, it just deteriorates forever. And again, 30 years is a long-ass time, right? True. So, but yeah, for 99.99999% of people, it's not.
But that only works, Kev, if you stop going to the next level. Like, you can coast if you want to stay at a certain level.
Well, that's what I mean.
If you're trying to get to the next level, it's always going to feel like a fucking climb.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah, by definition, you're going to try to go up. It's going to feel like a climb.
And that's why we're so big on it, because it's not, this is next level. There's always a next level. Always. I was talking, you and I were talking yesterday. I was like, dude, I am struggling with the diet and struggling with exercise. And Alan was like, you got to stop. Maybe we call it. And I said, no, dude, I'm not. No.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Good
I've come too far. I've come too far. And it's not that bad. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the road. It's not that detrimental. My sleep is great. My workouts are terrible, but it is what it is. What are we going to do? It's a priority, and I'm making a lot of progress, and that's important. And I want to make sure I keep that progress. So that is my next level lesson. Priorities create progress. Progress creates opportunity. Opportunities create more opportunities for priorities. A little triangle right there, baby.
That was like 6 things, man.
That was 3 things.
It's 5.
3.
Oh, you just
Priorities creates progress. Progress creates priorities. That's 2 things. And then priorities create progress. Progress creates priorities. Priorities create new opportunities for priorities. I don't fucking know. Don't worry about it.
But here's the problem. I know we got to go. With progress makes things more complex.
Yeah, it creates opportunities.
The need for more priority.
Yeah,
there you go. All right, nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, next level.
Opportunities, they make everything harder.
They do. And some things, they make everything harder and better.
Nice.
But also worse. But also better. If you are struggling with prioritization and you need help with that, we have the Next Level Dreamliner. You can literally write out the top main 3 things you're focused on every single day, and that level of clarity hopefully will be a little Mario Kart booster. So we'll have the link in the show notes for that.
If you want to join book club, you need more necessity to read like I do. Willpower. Roy Baumeister, John Tierney. I just lied to everybody. I don't need more necessity to read.
No, you
read all the time.
Yeah.
I do need more necessity to read hard copy books. I'm an Audible guy, so this is a hard copy book. Every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we had 15 to 18 people on the last one, and usually the first chapter of the book is always the highest hitter. It's summer. A lot of people are off the rails. I know that. That's okay. Stay on the rails with book club. Show up. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The only point of that book club is to help you reach your potential. That is it.
Boom. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.